With 572 cubic inches of alcohol injected and supercharged power sitting between the frame rails, it's the pickup truck you've always wanted. It's the Wheel Standards. The super modified two-wheel drives are next. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. We have plenty of great action for you here tonight, courtesy of the Jim Beam Spirit of the Heartland Challenge, presented by Dixie Chopper. There's a lot of action going on behind me as they prep the dual track here for this evening's pull, but we're going to focus on just one class. It's the two-wheel drive category. Superchargers are attached. The rain has blown through, the air is cool, horsepower will be high. If all goes well, the front ends will come up in the air and they'll plant those big back rear tires and hopefully drag that sled across the full pull mark. Now with more on tonight's event, let's go to my colleague, Leslie Mears.
Usually here at the Marshall Putnam Fair, a power track, but with those 3 inches of rain, Ken, that you mentioned coming in earlier today, it's going to be very detrimental to the setups of these pullers. They're not going to be able to go with their traditional setup that they've had. They're going to have to be out here on the track, digging in, finding how much moisture is out there. Rob?
So you're sitting at home playing poker with all your buddies. You got a pair of aces in the hole. Now, you might think that's good, but here today in Henry, Illinois, you need a pair of jacks. The modified two-wheel drive class has been stacked all season long, and Steve Jacks has been killing them. Got his 3rd win last night. He's the current point leader. He's definitely going to be one to watch. 3,000 horsepower plus tackling this bad fast track. It's time to get dirty.
Here are the Lucas Oil rules of the pull. Of course, our full pull mark will be set after 5 competitors have made their way down the track. And with this super modified two-wheel drive truck division, here's what you're looking at on the specifications. 6,200 pounds is the weight limit. Unlimited cubic inches running under the hood, and most of these guys running 1471 superchargers, and those motors running on methanol alcohol. They've all got a wedge or tubing angler type chassis. 2,000 pounds of movable weight out there, no steering with the wheel. It's all going to be on those rear tires back there. This is one of the toughest classes on the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League circuit.
As you would find in any form of motorsports, there's a lot of tricks to the trade, and Dan Walsh certainly knows them. Driving the Irish Challenger, he's hoping he's picked those right tricks to come out of the boxes because he is our first puller here today.
And you can see several other competitors lined up behind the sled, watching this first run, line up right in the middle of the track to see how it's going to fare.
And Dan Walsh on the throttle. Man, out over the full pull mark, 330.69 feet. You know, he was the first puller a night ago, and they yanked it from him. They changed the sled, so he comes out of the box again really hot.
He's got a great run going on, good wheel speed, front end up in the air, does lean a little bit towards that right side of the track, but man, look how he carries that front end. That's just amazing. Butterflies wide open, pouring on all the fuel that he can, and he has an awesome run right here.
Let's talk to him.
Last night, you guys had a great run. They yanked it from you, the Irish Challenger. Another great run here tonight. Are they thinking about yanking it here tonight?
Yes, they are. Last night, they went and they changed the sled on me. They yanked it from me, and they went back. Then they changed the sled back and came back. I came in a pull-off, but I didn't come back again because I was too hot. Tonight, I hope they keep it and try it like this and run another truck because I feel I got a good run.
Well, unfortunately, we can already hand out the bad news to Dan Walsh. They have changed the sled. So, unfortunately, he will have to come back and take another run at it. Randy Hall will be the first to do so with the Super Mule, a fan favorite truck.
Just an awesome-looking old-school machine. It's a 38 Chevrolet. And I tell you what, if you confuse this with the Willys, he will get super mad at you.
Yeah, don't let that bow tie up there on the front give it away. A lot of fans do think it's a Willys, though, for some reason. The front end up here, though, he's crowding down through there. And he'll start things off at 290.85 feet.
and it's textbook right off the line for Robert Hall. With these super modified two-wheel drive trucks, they don't get all the way into the throttle until they hit about the 100-foot line, and that's where you see him really start to launch. Carries the front end beautifully all the way down the track until the very end when he sees that red flag start to pop there just a little bit.
Randy Hall, nice pull out there, 290.85. You think it's going to hold up?
I don't know. I doubt it. Unfortunately, when it got so loose coming out, RPM come up, caused it to go lean. That's why it got the belt. We'll see what happens, but it's hard to say. It's a rough group. It's hard to stay on top with something like that.
It is a stacked house, no doubt about it. Jessica Jacks and the pair of Jacks, a two-truck team. She'll come out here first, and the young lady is not afraid to stand on the throttle.
Well, and she's been standing on that throttle for 4 years now. This is her 4th season competing and in the top 5 right now on the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League Champions Tour circuit.
Good look at the right hand there, running the throttle. You said it before, Leslie, that it just ease into that thing because otherwise they just knock rear tires right off of these things. She had to wait till it got a good fight, doing a pretty good job, and comes out there at 295.28 feet, good enough to take the lead.
And that is one thing you can always say about Jessica Jacks is she's got great finesse in the driver's seat. Does a good job. Look, the front end still down, just barely starting to come up and begin that amazing wheel stand as she goes down the track. Not afraid to let it go, doesn't hit the brakes, and pushes it out for the lead.
Jessica Jacks at 295 and change. Your pops won here last night. Did he give you any tips?
I told me just to drive it like I usually do, come out with it easy and just give it all you can. Said that the hole was a little hard. I felt it and I hooked with it. I hope it stays. There's a lot of tough trucks out there.
What's the track like out there? I mean, we had a little bit of rain here today. Is it pretty rough out there right now?
Track's just like last night. I don't think the rain hurt track any.
We've just gotten warmed up here. Plenty more two-wheel action coming your way. The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. E3 spark plugs with new Diamond Fire technology. K&N, the world's best air filter. We're here at the Jim Beam Spirit of the Heartland Challenge, presented by Dixie Chopper at Henry, Illinois. You are watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League, and we have the super modified two-wheel drive trucks out here, and Jared Nelson is up next in the Midnight Revenger. Chop top on the big bad Chevy.
Going with that new Silverado body on his vehicle. Barely see those front wheels out there. Got a little bit of flare on the side. Still trying to figure everything out here with this new motor and configuration.
But I'm not sure if it was a smooth transition because I'll tell you, when he decided to hammer down, he did not waste any time.
So many variables out here on the track, and you can see he eased into it and then begins his wheel stand early and gets a couple of hops in there and then launches into a little bit bigger wheel stand, maybe just a little light on the front end, not enough to keep it down the whole time to get that good transfer weight on that 6,200 pounds.
As we hook our next competitor up to the sled, we'll check in with Rob for some rules of PPL.
Here in Henry, Illinois, if you got a modified two-wheel drive, you got to worry about a few different things. First of all, you have to have 5 trucks make a run before they set that full pull mark. It's going to be 300 feet, 310 feet, 320 feet. If we get more than one truck eclipse the full pull mark, well, then we're in a pull-off situation. And that's real simple. Whoever can go the furthest in a pull-off takes home the big money.
Stan Chilton with the Sawmill Express will actually compete in 2 different trucks. This guy is good enough to win no matter when he climbs it.
And you can see that right sideline in your view, taking a chance. Everybody else staying in the center of the track. It's the zero to hero move, and let's see how it works out for him.
310 feet is the full pull mark. He'll be short of that at 294.51, but it is good for a second place right behind Jessica Jacks.
Well, 35 feet between those white lines. Any advantage that you can get, you're going to need with this tough group of competitors. A great shot at the front end up in the air, carrying it out through there, comes back towards the center of the track just a little bit at the end, though.
You can see Old Missouri Hookman Bob back in the competitors up there. And Mark Austin is driving the Still Raising Cane truck. Old school Chevy S10. Nice big blower head sticking out of the top of that one. The big buzzer catcher. Green flag, the course is hot. Working it hard, 257.97.
And you can see he goes to the opposite sideline that we saw from Stan Shelton. You know, the Still Raising Cane team took 3 or 4 years off, put a new machine back together, and have been slowly bringing it out on the circuit. Man, check out those bounces. Gonna do nothing for you when your distance comes out at the end. Lots of braking and lots of loss of power there to pick that front end back up and put it down.
Right over there by the sideline as well. Next up, Ricky Long and the Willie Macon. Talk about tough competitors. They don't come any tougher than the Long family.
And Ricky currently tied for 3rd place on the Champions Tour circuit thus far in the season.
Oh, and he was just getting going and shut it down. He didn't go 100 feet, so the rule is he can actually come back.
As long as there's some kind of visible mechanical breakage and you get the vehicle stopped before 100 feet, the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League officials rules say that you can come back and you can drop last. And if you can get it fixed, you can come back and hook at the very end of the class.
That one was still running, so hopefully he'll have a shot at it. Come on back, and we'll find out. We're having a great time here at the Jim Beam Spirit of the Heartland Challenge presented by Dixie Chopper here at Henry, Illinois. Ken Stott, Leslie Mears, and Rob Klepper bringing you all the action from the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. We are watching the super modified 2-wheel drive trucks and Jeremy Nelson, part of another 2-truck team out here with the Midnight Gambler.
He's going to take a lesson from Stan Shelton here. Put it over there on that right sideline. You got that 41 Dodge panel van, and you can see him making some final adjustments inside the cab there before he takes off.
I've got to say, I think he just chose a wrong gear here tonight because once he poured the power to it, it just pulled the motor down.
Sounded great off the starting line, but as soon as you can hear that kind of drag down, that dreary sound coming from the engine, not that happy, buzzing, ripping sound that we all like to hear, you know that there's some problems. Also, a little bit extra fuel shooting out over there from the headers on the right side as well.
Pretty hard early on, just never got it to bite. So a tough night for him. We'll continue on here in the super modified 2-wheel drive category. Bob Martin is up next with the Grim Reaper.
We saw Bob Martin's partner in crime, Randy Hall, with the Super Mule. Just one of 8 2-truck teams that come out here in this super modified 2-wheel drive category. Want to gain as much information as they can because it's such a tough race.
Who would have guessed a big motor like that would sit inside of that thing where typically the 4-cylinder sat and it's stock days. A little bit short of the mark he was looking for here tonight. He won't compete in the top 5.
Looking at 575 cubic inches under the hood out there. Going nice and straight and narrow. Getting a little bit of extra bite from that right tire, pulling him over to the left side of the track, and just doesn't have enough brake to hold it back.
Tough run for him. Here comes the bullseye. This is Keith Long. And another just spectacular looking ride. All the equipment from these guys, pristine, and of course, maintained as proper as possible.
Well, and these guys go through their engines after every single run to make sure that they're in pristine conditions. Because if you have a bent push rod or a valve train issue, it's going to show up when you're out there on the track, and they need every inch that they can get in competition.
295.28 is the mark to beat if you want to take over the lead. 288.10 is what he just pulled, but it sounded like he got out of the throttle just a little bit early.
And it looks like there's an issue here because he gets up early, almost like he gave it too much throttle too early because it grabs hold of the track, launches him up, and brings him back down. And as he starts to bounce on the track, Ken, I think that's where he retracts the throttle so he doesn't do any damage to the motor.
And here comes truck number 2 for Stan Shelton, General Tire back machine. Just a spectacular looking ride. This one just as impressive as the first one that he saw him come out here with, called the Sawmill Express. But which one's going to be better here tonight? Originally we saw him line up on the extreme right-hand side of the track. Just go with that again.
It looks like he's going to stay right of center, Ken, but staying a little bit more towards the center. I know he's using that run by the Sawmill Express as a guinea pig run because he's not as far over as he was before.
Going into the right just a little bit. 293.79 will not be good enough to take over the lead. A very strong run, though. Right now, it puts him in 3rd place.
Another thing to take into consideration here is that there have been several vehicles run in between the run of the Sawmill Express and this General Tire cutting edge machine. So the track conditions out there could be changing from when he was on the track in the beginning. You can see a lot of dirt being pushed up there in front of the pan by the sled.
Stay with us. More action in a moment. The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League has been brought to you by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Super clean. Not just clean, super clean. Jim Beam, the official spirit of racing. And by Team Lucas, taking your company's marketing to the finish line. We're here at the Jim Beam Spirit of the Heartland Challenge in Henry, Illinois, presented by Dixie Chopper. And we're going to go back to Rob Pepper as we watch the Irish Challenger and Dan Walsh hook up to the sled for his 2nd attempt.
Well, guys, just got done talking to Stan Shelton, driver of the General Tire cutting edge truck. Ran 293 and change. Earlier today, Jessica Jakes laying down 294 and change. Asked Shelton, what's the deal? He said the track is very consistent. He just wishes he would have changed gears. A little bit taller gear, a little more RPMs, make this thing a little bit faster. But he says the track's been very good all day long. Tremendous racetrack here today. He still thinks there's a full pool out there.
And, of course, Jessica Jakes, our current leader, 295.28. We saw the Irish Challenger come out earlier, but they changed the sled. He has to come back and try it again. And Dan Walsh, I guarantee you, is not a happy camper. 294 feet is what he'll record this time, and that will not get him where he needs to be.
That first run where he went over 330 feet started out in the middle of the track. He decides to go to the left side of the track, and you can see that left tire dragging him over to the right side of the track with all that traction. That crossways motion going to really cut down his distance.
That'll put him in 3rd place. Here comes a former class champion and Lisa Tatum. Of course, her father also competes in this category. We'll see him in a few moments. Tony Tatum. We'll find out if this track has anything left. The front end getting way up in the air to the point it finally unloaded those rear tires and it slammed back down on the ground. 284.47. It looked like she might have been a little light in the front.
And that's where 2,000 pounds of movable weight comes into play on these 6,200-pound vehicles. You've got to make sure you get the right distribution. There's a perfect example. Up and slamming down takes a lot of horsepower to push that front end back up in the air, and she would have got a little bit more distance. Just a lot of variables out here on these vehicles, though.
As we continue on, this will be Tony Tatum. And Tony, of course, the father of Lisa we saw out here just a little bit earlier. But the opportunity to sit in the back of this class and take a look at what the previous trucks have been doing is something this guy will be able to take advantage of.
Well, and a lot of pullers will tell you that that's a blessing and a curse all at the same time, because some of them will actually tell you that it gives you too much time to think about what you're going to do once you get in the driver's seat out there on the track. Not the case, I don't think, here with Tony Tatum. Over 25 years of truck pulling experience under his belt. This guy knows what's going on, and hey, he's a great decision maker out here as well.
Taking his time, getting everything situated, pulling those safety belts down just a little bit tighter. Gets the green flag, and here we go. front end that's coming up nice, but unfortunately right at the very end goes off to the left. And his distance of 284.80 is just about 2.5 inches further than his daughter's pass at 284.47.
And you know, this is a really tricky track out here, Ken. Everybody seems to be floating off to one side or the other at the end. They're getting great bite off the starting line, able to keep it straight, and then the track just overpowering them down there at the end.
The hands running over the top of the exhaust pipes there, checking to make sure all 8 of them were firing. Steve Jacks and pair of Jacks coming out here. Of course, we saw Jessica Jacks a little bit earlier. We'll see if Steve can do any better. Job here. How about that? He takes over the lead, 298.62. Steve Jacks out of Fishers, Indiana, with pair of Jacks, takes the lead from his daughter.
Starts out over on that right sideline to begin this textbook run. Walks it out great. And then you see that left front tire just barely dancing off the top of the dirt. Just awesome. Gets that perfect weight transfer. You can see it really hook up at the end, pouring all that power to the rear end to take the lead.
That brings us down to the last truck, and of course that's Ricky Long with the Willie Make It. We saw him earlier. He did not go past the 100-foot mark, so he was allowed to go to the rear of the line and come back out and try it again. And now he's the only guy that has a shot at stopping Steve and Jessica Jacks from finishing 1-2 here tonight.
The only thing that Steve Jacks can keep in the back of his mind down there is that mechanical breakage that put Ricky Long in this position is still problematic for the Willie Make It machine.
Looking good so far. He's close. Oh, but he will not get the win here tonight. What he will do is separate the 1-2 finish between Steve and Jessica, but he did not have enough distance to get the win at 296.34.
That little hop early from that Minor Brothers motor might have hurt him, but he did get a good wheel stand going down the track.
Rob Stannon with our winner, Steve Jacks.
The track was very consistent all day long. You had a pretty good run.
Yeah, I thought the track stayed pretty consistent. You know, Jessica was the first class, and, you know, we used their same information, like I said before, and it seemed to work for us. So we took it and put it on that Dre truck and drove it right on out here and got around daughter a little bit. So she'll be okay.
And Jessica, I asked your dad after his run what he felt about knocking you off the top spot. He said, it's okay. She's done it to me quite a bit.
Yeah, last year we were fighting back and forth. Who was first, and I'm just glad Dad's winning. He's actually leading the points right now, and it's nice to come out and for him to actually win both days.
Here's a look at the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League points, courtesy of Jim Beam, and it's pair of Jacks, Steve Jacks, who's on top of the field, followed by the Bullseye and Willie Make It. Stan Shelton will receive our General Tire hookup of the day.
Taking that early chance on that right sideline, paying off for him with a big distance.
And then, of course, the guy that came out here and split up the 1-2 finish out of the Jacks will be our Dixie Chopper fan favorite. It goes to Ricky Long and Willie Make It.
The Minor Brothers motor doing a good job for him tonight as he powers down the track with that big wheel stand at the end to take number 2.
For Leslie Mears and Rob Klepper, I'm Ken Stout. Thanks for watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.